Hey guys, welcome. This is the complete the square evens problem for the worksheet. The first two we're just trying to find the c value, and to find the c value you just have to take the b value, divide it by 2, and square it. So that's always going to be the c value right there. And just for your reference, remember a standard quadratic is ax squared plus bx plus c. So the b term is right in front of the single variable. So b is single variable, b squared is not single. So we got 12 is going to be our b, so it's going to be 12 divided by 2, and then squared, which is going to be 6 squared, which is 36. So c is equal to 36. Okay. Same thing with this one. Again, we're going to find b divided by 2 squared is going to be our c value. 18 is our b, so we're going to get 18 divided by 2 squared, which is going to equal 9 squared, which is going to equal 81. So c equals 81. So those are by far the easiest of them. Let's move on to two medium ones, and then we'll go on to a difficult one. Okay, so here I left a little space, there's no space, but we want to do what's now called complete the square, which is find that c value, but whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So we're going to do the same thing we just did before, b divided by 2 squared. I'm going to be 2 divided by 2, and then squared, which is just 1 squared, which is just 1. So you're going to add 1 to both sides. Again, we want to make sure if you do it to one side, you do it to both sides. Okay? Then we're going to factor this guy right here. And I'm going to ask myself, what two numbers multiply to 1 but add to -2? Well, that would be -1 and -1. So we get x minus 1 squared equals 16. You want to make sure that you get the same exact number, otherwise it's not a perfect square trinomial, which is what we're doing. It's called complete the square. This number is supposed to complete this trinomial to be a perfect square. So to solve, we can then, take the square root, and which cancels that little 2 out. I'm sorry, my Xbox Live, for whatever reason, decided to pop up. Guys, I have to game later, that's what that means. Just kidding, I don't remember last time I went on Xbox to play video games. The square root of 16 is going to be plus or minus 4. Really important to do that plus or minus thing, because it could be a positive 4 times a positive 4, and negative 4 times negative 4, you get 16 either way. Add 1 to both sides, so x equals 1 plus or minus 4. So if I do 1 plus 4, I'm going to get 5 as one answer, or 1 minus 4, I'm going to get -3 as the other answer. So 5 comma -3 should be your two values. Number 8, slightly more challenging. I just have to move the 44 over first before I do anything. And then I'm going to leave that blank. So to move it over, I'm going to subtract it from both sides. So we get -44 plus blank. Okay. And okay, so we subtract the 44 across. So we're going to take this as our b value. So we have b divided by 2 squared. Okay. And that's going to be 24 divided by 2, which is 12. And then we're going to square that, which is 144. We're going to do 144 over here. Okay, so whatever I add to one side, I add to both. And then this right here, I have to factor like I did up here. Now the trick is actually, it's always the number divided by 2, and it's a -12. So it's actually going to be x minus 12. And we know this is true because -12 plus -12 is -24, and -12 times -12 is 144. So this becomes this, and then that becomes 100, and then we square root. We get x minus 12 equals plus or minus 10. And so add the 12 over, we get plus or minus 10, so 12 plus 10 is 22, and 12 minus 10 is 2. And there you go. Alright, this is the last one, number 10, and this one is a doozy. So I won't give you one this hard, but you can either decide to skip it now or, fast forward to the answer. Your choice, but there's going to be some fractions involved. So here we go. First things first, I actually have to factor this 2 out. So if I factor the 2 out, 2 divided by 2 is 1, so I get 1h squared, minus, not divisible there, so I'm going to have to go ahead and do that, plus blank equals -1 plus blank. Okay, so remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Alright, so b divided by 2. So that's going to be, we're going to write 5.5 divided by 2 squared. That's what's going to go up here. Well, 5.5 divided by 2 is actually 5/4 squared, which is going to be 5 squared is 25 over 16. Alright, so I'm going to do the same thing over here, but I also have to multiply it by a 2. And the reason why is because this is 2 times 25. So when I added this number in here, I got to remember it's getting multiplied by 2. So that's why this one's very tricky with fractions and all that good stuff. Okay, so over here I get -1 plus the 2 and the 16 can cancel. So I get 25 over 8. Bring that down just a little bit more. And over here, we are going to get 2 on the outside. And remember, this is the number that I want to put in. It's the b divided by 2 is what's going to go over here, and it's going to be a negative. Okay. All right, and then we're going to divide by 2. So we're going to divide this whole thing by 2 over here. Okay, and here what I would recommend is just using a calculator. It's going to make your life a lot easier, so I'm just actually going to put it all in. -1 plus 25 divided by 8. So I just wrote that, and then I'm going to hit enter. Now mine does a fraction, but yours might just do this, which is fine. And then you're going to divide by 2. And I got 17 over 16, or you might get this. Then we're going to take the square root of that, and so we get x minus 5 over 4 equals plus or minus the square root of 17 over 16. Not a perfect square, so we can't really do anything, so we're going to add the 5 over 4, and so we're going to get 2 answers, 17 over 16 and 5 over 4 minus the square root of 17 over 16. And so I'm just going to plug both those in. So 5 divided by 4 minus the square root of 17 over 16. So my first answer is going to be 2.2. And that was minus. And then this guy, 5 divided by 4 plus the square root of 17 over 16 is 2.28. And there's my 2 answers. So, this would be like, hey, Honors Algebra 2 kids, this should be something that's in the wheelhouse, that you should be able to do something at this level. If you were significantly confused and disturbed by this problem, then one, you should probably get some help from me or somebody. I'm available. But this is the type of thing that you have to be very comfortable with for Algebra 2 Honors. Okay? Dealing with fractions, multiple steps, being careful, diligent, showing your work. Okay? If you chicken scratch this and go too fast, it's going to be a bummer. So, alright. That's all for me. See you guys.